All right, welcome everyone. I've already been sending greetings to the chat here. My name is Karen Aoki, and I'll be hosting today's webinar, Human Intuition and Creativity in the Age of AI. Okay, so just some introductory remarks about our university. So we're a Maharishi International University. We're an accredited nonprofit university accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. And I'm glad you're already making full use of the chat line. We also have the Q&A. The Q&A chat is kind of handy because when we answer questions there, then everybody gets to see the answer. It keeps it a little bit neater, but either way is fine. And just a few words about Maharishi International University. So our tagline is consciousness-based education. And consciousness means quite a few things in our world. And here what we are pointing to is not only the state of consciousness or state of awareness that one develops, but also an underlying framework for understanding how developing consciousness also puts you in touch with inner intelligence and also the intelligence of nature. So it's a two-part framework. One is your own awareness, your own consciousness, but also that by tapping into your inner intelligence through meditation, then we're also enlivening our source of creativity, our source of intelligence from within. So there's a whole broad theoretical framework that's knitted into your coursework, but we just wanted to give you sort of a working definition up front. We have been an intentional community right from the start. So not only in education, but a community based in Southeast Iowa, where we've really had a lifestyle around wellness, well-being, and developing the full human potential. We're also a university that developed here with people that moved here intentionally to start a whole new approach, a whole new paradigm of education. We also teach a form of meditation called transcendental meditation. You'll hear more about that. If you came to campus, you'd see that we have spaces for yoga, for meditating together. And then, of course, like any other university, we have our traditional courses. Today is very interesting because we're talking about two maybe contradictory or complementary faculties. So one is the human intelligence component, and the other is a rapidly changing world where we're integrating technology and how we're fitting in with the modern times. So let's just meet our panelists. We're going to have them turn on their videos. We have 5 faculty with us today, I think. Yes. Maybe 6. There we go. Okay. So they're each going to introduce who they are, what they teach when we bring them on for the first time. But let's start with Stuart. So he's going to really frame where education is at these days. So we want to start off with Stuart Tanner explaining, like, how would you define, or now that AI is a fast, ready tool available everywhere, where should university education really prioritize its focus? Like, what becomes more important in this era and what becomes sort of less important? And feel free to add any other framing things that would be necessary to sort of get the conversation going.
Okay, thanks for the intro. Hello everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Obviously, the AI revolution is underway and it's affecting all of us, and education is one of the arenas that's being impacted, and we're going to get into that. But just to give a broader frame to start out, we're all aware of the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, then along came computers, and then the internet. And all of those had massive economic and cultural impact. And just to give the scale of that, it's very unlikely that the feudalism of the Middle Ages would have been overthrown and new political models created and new economic models created without the industrial and agricultural revolution. Those two things were the foundation of the ability to be able to have the space to share their ideas and to have the intellectual firmament that led to the overthrowing of feudalism and the creation of liberal democracies. So when we talk about a technological revolution of the power of the Industrial Revolution, or currently the AI revolution, the consequences, the transformational power in that for society can be extremely wide-ranging. And we're in pretty much in the early years, so we don't really fully know what those are going to be. We will find out as the technology develops, spreads, and its full sort of impacts unfold, which we can see more or less happening every week. But the context for today's discussion is within the realms of education and the impact on education. And of course, it is fundamental. Why? Because, well, the previous revolutions, they dealt with labor, the Industrial Revolution, Agricultural Revolution. Then you had clerical impact on clerical work with computers and so on. And then internet was more about distribution. This is the first revolution that is replacing human cognitive power. So we all know that AI now can be used to do research, but it can be used to produce the research result or the creative writing result or create poems. Incidentally, there was a recent competition in which AI created poems. The experts couldn't tell the difference between them and human created poems. So, cultural impacts are already sort of coming about and pretty fundamental and powerful. So, within the education sphere, personally, my view is we will have to redesign education and adapt education pretty fundamentally in order to adapt to the AI revolution, because one needs to fully understand that every student coming in, and this is just going to increase, will have experience of using AI. AI literacy will gradually increase, and it's one of our missions is to make sure there's equity there and everyone has access, everyone has AI literacy. Right. So you don't just have a student, you have a student and all the AI capabilities around them, which can replace or enhance cognitive abilities. Well, that's a first. That's never happened before in human history. And we're at the beginning of that. So you're designing courses previously for a human being with a human being capacity at a certain age and a certain stage of development. Now it's human beings with all that AI can do with them, for them as well. So clearly that leads to fundamental reassessments of how we teach, the methods, the process and everything. And I'm sure we'll get into that, but there are many facets to it. And we are all actively engaged in, along with other educational institutes, with figuring these things out and coming up with policies and approaches and making sure we get out the best out of the AI revolution without losing cognitive enhancement, human values, human creativity.
That's right. So just to answer Dean's question here, our webinar is not just about AI's role in education, but as Stuart was just saying, we're also about something that's always been important to this institution, which was making sure that the human cognitive functions are still well trained, and even more so, that creativity is still something that's cultured and nurtured. But thank you so much for that very clear sort of naming this moment in time. We're at the beginning of this major transformation and very different from the past because of the fact that it's the human cognitive functions that are now potentially being replaced. So where I want to take this conversation really has a lot to do with where all of our attendees here want to take it as well. We want to address, of course, intuition and creativity, because we talked about that. We also want to talk about maybe what we can do to address a more egalitarian learning environment. Because if you don't know AI, you're going to be at a real disadvantage. And another area is we want these educators here to tell you all some really good practical advice. What can you do as a student to be ready and to maximize education? But just to get us started, I just want to ask all of our attendees here, what's your biggest concern about AI in education right now? Would it be cheating, dependence, job future, loss of your own cognitive functioning, misinformation? What are some of your concerns? So I'm just seeing now we're using tools that don't necessarily require our intelligence to be effective. So now the offshoring of mind is reacting to the upper echelons. So how to use it wisely to grow. That's from John. And iPhone 17 says loss of soul. Lisa, and my biggest concern is that the use of AI and everyone else's voices will dilute my own. So that cognitive function and depth within. And future job opportunities as a teacher of creative writing. Over dependence, competition, swallowing AI whole as a betrayal of consciousness. Okay. Marnie, all you named is a concern, but also the ethics of using AI and the impact of the environment, but the fact that it's not just going away. So how do we use it ethically? Okay. Yeah, environment, community impact. So let's see. I think Johannes would be really good to bring in here. Johannes teaches the first introductory course that all undergraduates take. So can you speak to maybe some ways that you're nurturing that human domain, that humative cognitive domain?
Yes. I mean, first of all, I think it makes a lot of sense to really learn the ins and outs of AI and how to use it in a conscious, intelligent way. But I would say the foundation to that is the development of your own self. And that means, for instance, your inner intuition, your confidence, and also your discernment. Being able, for instance, to say whether what AI is providing me is of sense or not. So I would always start with the development of the self. And I think we have really powerful tools with the TM technique, for instance, which allows you to really dive deep, experience who you are, and then come out with clarity, come out with discernment, and come out with a deep knowingness of who you really are. And I think it's these kind of capabilities, these kind of skills that allow you then to better and more in a more sovereign way walk through life. And also use AI, because then you can really see, does it make sense? Is this actually furthering my inquiry and what I want to know? And so I think we should always start on that level and master the underlying operations to even begin to understand what AI is actually doing, and then decide for ourselves whether this is in our best interest or whether we're better served in specific areas to resort to our own resources and knowledge.
Yeah, so right off the bat, you'll be creating that learning environment where people are supported in learning a meditation, but also you're acknowledging that we have to be using these tools. And
100%. Yeah, but the basis is always the self. The basis is always starting with us, getting to know who we really are, because that is the basis through which we perceive the world. And so at MIU, we lay great emphasis on that. And so that's why, for instance, in the first course we teach, we basically say to students, hey, you don't really need to use it. If you use AI, do it consciously and also do it transparently, sharing how it is useful. But overall, it's more about getting to know who you really are. And from that vantage point, getting to better understand what's this world, what's this reality that I'm co-creating. And that then is a really powerful basis for all of us, but then also for students who are really curious about AI to then venture into that field and do it with confidence, do it with clarity and with discernment, not replacing their own intuition and intelligence, but intelligently supplementing it. And that's what we kind of want to culture, I would say, at the university.
All right. So I think what we need to do here is make a stronger link between a meditation technique and then specifically the human intelligence, intuition, creativity zone. And I know, Amin, you do a lot of work in designing courses that both integrate AI, but then also other courses that sort of develop the more creative functions. So can you speak to both of these aspects of education and how you would?
I have some slides.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Very happy to be here and to share some things. I think what Professor Johannes just mentioned is really quite powerful. Human intelligence and creativity in the age of AI. What happens any moment we have an educational experience, anyone is learning anything, there are three components that go into it. Somebody, through a certain process, is getting to know something. And today with AI, the known, there's no unknown anymore. Anyone can know anything at their fingertip on their cell phone. It used to be that a professor will get on stage and they will have the knowledge, so they share the known, and then the students are taking notes and learning. But now most of my students know more than me. So the known is there's no more unknown pretty much. Process of knowing, there's so much that has evolved in education, like learning preferences, AI tutors, all of these different aspects. How do you learn? How do you process information? And most education really is still to this day focused on these two things. At MIU for 50 years, what we've been doing is we've been putting the knower, you, the person, at the center of the educational experience. Is there a way for us to develop who you are? Give you tools to really expand your consciousness, to really get to know all the dimensions of who you are from the deepest level, so that whatever comes your way, if it's AI or if it's quantum computing or whatever technology is evolving, it doesn't shake you away from who you are as a human being and gives you that understanding. For that, I think we need to, I'll do a brief explanation of the levels of self. On the most surface level, we are our environment. It's very solid, it's concrete, you can touch it. It's a representation of who you are. And then our bodies are as much visible as they are invisible. So you can touch your body, but you have internal organs that are functioning and you're feeling them. And then the senses are like the window to your soul, they say. Your eyes, when you look into someone's eyes, it's like a window to their soul. The senses are as much material as they're immaterial. It's as much outer world as they are inner world. So through the senses, we get to experience our inner world, the mind, the big, vast ocean of the mind. And a more refined aspect of the mind is the intellect, the ability to discern and discriminate. And that's where critical thinking comes into play. And a lot of AI works on this level, on this intellectual level, basically. But then deeper than that, we have the ability to feel deeply into things. AI does not have the ability to feel. AI can take a lot of information and process it really rapidly in a million different ways, but it cannot feel the way a human being can be in touch with that intimate part of who we are, that we can feel into things. And then there's a sense of self, a sense that makes me, that makes you, that makes Karen, Johannes, Melrose, that sense of individuality, which is our ego, but not in that egotistical sense. It's the sense of self. And yet deeper than this, we have this level that connects all of us, that level of consciousness, which is our universal self, that's connected to every person. Now, when you come to MIU, transcendental meditation is a technique to take the mind from the most active thinking level and go way deep into the experience and of that sense of self, but also the experience of universal self. Now, intuition. Where is intuition? Intuition, my slides just changed, but it's all right. Intuition, David Lynch, which I studied under David Lynch, says intuition is the coming together of feeling and intellect together. Intuition is right here. It's structured, it has a direction, but it's also as much feeling as it is intellect. And AI could be somewhat intuitive, but the intuitive nature of AI comes from this function of the intellect, not from the fine feeling level here. So when we speak about human intuition and human creativity in the age of AI, it's important to understand that we have way more depth than AI probably will ever have, at least as we know it today. And if we get to know ourselves very deeply at a fundamental level by experiencing being, by experiencing our true essential nature, you know it by experiencing it, and then you expand consciousness, then whatever tools are handed to you, you're able to work with them very efficiently and work with them in a way that makes use of that intelligence to advance whatever field of knowledge you're trying to advance. I'll say one more thing on the topic and then I'll pass it on. What we're finding now with AI, it is here to stay. There is no, like bubble, no bubble. It's here to stay. It's like the cat is out of the bag. And we're in this world where we're not going to go back to a world without AI. But those who are going to succeed are the ones who can really dive into whatever field they're going. For me, it's filmmaking. If I understand filmmaking very deeply, then I can make use of AI much more efficiently than somebody that doesn't understand filmmaking and is trying to use AI to make films. Same for coding, same for business. You need to know as a person your field of knowledge and the level of expertise that you can develop using AI to help you develop that expertise is to extent to which you can extract the maximum intelligent use out of AI and succeed in the world that is filled with AI today. So these are my 2 cents on the topic.
I think that was it. Thank you. Sort of understanding that it's here, and as John here is saying in the chat. So the big thing is that AI, as of now, only provides information ideas. It doesn't fully understand like human nature as it's limited. So, Dean, yes, what would you like to add?
My name is Dean. I'm a professor in the Faculty of Computer Science. I personally work in the field of building these AI models, and I teach these topics, and I work with coding. And since I'm seeing there's a lot of questions opening up here with AI and replacement and everything, there is something that I want to highlight. And I also want to highlight why education is more important than before. I want to talk a little bit about the world nowadays, how things work, and especially in the last 2 years, I've worked on projects other than teaching with AI specifically, and I work in coding specifically. So you guys might think, like, since AI is there right now, why can't anyone just go out there and just go make a website or go make a whole project themselves? Because there's 2 aspects here when we're talking about this. There's how to do something and what to do. The AI now is covering the how to do. So you could tell it, I want you to build this for me. I want you to manage the data here. I want you to store this for me. I want you to do that. But it's not going to know what to do. And believe me, I've seen examples and people that tried to use it with not knowing what to do specifically. So now here comes the thing, is that now you need knowledge more than before. Now you need knowledge. You need knowledge to know what to do. Because I don't want to go into too much details about my field, but there are a lot of technologies. There are a lot of ways of storing data. There are a lot of ways of transferring data. What way are you going to decide? Do you think AI always chooses the best way? If that was the case, believe me, I wouldn't even be teaching computer science by now. So now the how to do is already done, and that's the way we work, and it did change the way we're working. So we're not coding like back then. I'm not like writing everything. I have like a there's a specific IDE and I have an AI agent next to me, and I'm actually saying, build this for me, do this for me. I look at something, try this. No, don't do that. Repeat this, do that. I'm giving it commands. So it is doing the how, but what you need to know is what to do. And that's where, and in order to come up with that, what to do to make those decisions, you need to have knowledge. You need to know what's going on. Those are my 2 cents
That's
on
awesome.
the AI.
So what are you doing to sort of assist the student going into the university? I know you're developing a minor and a specialization in AI.
Yes. We have a minor that we're proposing here in the university. This is a non-technical. So you don't have to have any coding experience, and it's not about coding specifically. We focus on let's say common tasks that you can do with AI in any domain, like editing and playing around video, voice generation, prompting, designing, whether it's making presentations, rating essays, analyzing text. And we also have data analytics. This will help in a lot of other fields as well. And there's also dealing with agents. So we have a whole course that talks about how can you delegate tasks to agents, how can you let them do stuff. So we do have interesting, and we have a small project. It's like a 2-week project, 1 month for online. So yeah, we do have a minor, a non-technical minor in AI in our university.
That's good, because I think quite a few people expressed interest in that minor. So there you go. If anyone has any specific questions, you can put them into the Q&A, and Dean can continue to handle them through the chat in the Q&A function. So just because he's a great resource here, take advantage.
Just like to comment on that from the
Yeah.
creative industry side. I see a number of comments about writing and authorship and voice. I think those are really important points within the creative industries. Obviously, we already see quite an impact within the creative industries. You know, it's interesting to see what's unfolding, because AI can produce very quickly. So you get a very, it's called baseline productivity. You have very, very high sudden improvement and increasing baseline productivity. If you go on Midjourney, if you go on Sora, if you go on all these different platforms, you'll see huge amounts of content that previously would have taken graphic designer or someone shooting video days, weeks to create. Now it can be done within a minute or two. So what are the consequences of that? Well, one can track one's own kind of response to that, you know, you're seeing all this content coming out. You know, it's sort of AI slop. Some of it is incredible and beautiful and very attractive. Over time, though, you feel that the revelation value for you, the impact value for you, tends to decrease somewhat. So then you need something at a higher level, and then a higher level again, and that's bang in line with technological revolutions that they do that they put pressure on the lower end of productivity or products like creativity, and they create a pressure upwards, so that really for the best future for yourselves and in the education that you choose and going forward, so learning the skills and using AI as a collaborator, but at the same time keeping human creativity as a core value, human voice and so on, is I think going to be where it's at. And not only that, I have a lot of faith in the fact that people will still thirst for things that they find authentic, that have soul, that speak on the emotional level, and that humans are incredibly, you know, sophisticated creatures, really. And we can, at a very fine level and an intuitive level, tell the difference between those different things. Maybe the gap closes to a certain degree, but I think it's still there. And so, you know, you can expect counter trends where people want raw, analog, in-person experiences as well. And that can grow just as much alongside the growth of, you know, AI output. So I personally don't despair about the future of the creative industries in a way. you can recognize the effect of Spotify, you can recognize the effect of streaming, but there is, I think, a very dynamic and creative future in using the tools, but using them in such a way as not the final authority or the author, but as an enhancement, an amplifier of one's ideas and one's creativity. And that's the approach in terms of, our approach, because we teach within the creative field. That's more in line with the approach that we take. You can't hold back the tsunami of AI. It just won't work. And be punitive about it or anything. That's never going to work. As Amin said, it's here now, it's unfolding. We see the impacts and everything, but you can maintain and really enhance the human core, the human value, the editing, the judgment, the assessment. As you were saying, Dean, the final choices, the higher level stuff is really, really important. And in a sense, there's even more importance to develop those skills in going forward. And so there's awareness there here, or MIU or whatever, in the different fields that this is the case, and making the adjustments accordingly so that we are ready for this and give the best futures in terms of ongoing careers and work and so on to students at MIU.
Well, you got a lot of good responses. Justin says he appreciates Amin and Stuart's comments about the creative industries. Do either of you happen to know if the studio art department, what they're doing with AI integration is embraced by them, or how are they nurturing?
I can comment on that quickly, and I also would love to hear from Melrose also.
We'll move to them.
I'll just do it very quickly. The MA in Studio Art, to my knowledge, is actually keeping up with that human development. So you're actually in the studio and you're doing art in the studio. I don't think AI is integrated into that degree program. I think in other art classes, you can have access to AI, and other degree programs, certainly in the Cinematic Arts and New Media program. Stuart is teaching a class called AI and Creativity. Within documentary MFA, which we're starting this spring, AI will be included in there in helping you kind of refine your proposals and things like that. So each department is having to work with AI and finding the balance of developing the human versus, using the AI, and which areas are going to be, if we use AI, detrimental to developing our human ability. For example, for screenwriting, they're forbidden to write screenplays using AI. But the next department over, you go to Cinematic Arts and New Media, and we're doing AI and Creativity to help you kind of like come up with music, graphic design different things like that. So,
all right, so that's all we get for the creative arts. We now want to shift towards professors here in the business management and accounting areas, but to be more maybe global in your reach, could you perhaps talk about how you're shifting your teaching strategies in the classroom? Let's start with Melrose. Like maybe a year ago, how did it look? And now, what have you had to do to adapt? Would that be a good place to start? Yeah, okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melrose. I'm an instructor of business analytics and technology here at MIU. If you think about a year from now or 2 years from now, the tools were just starting to come out, and we were thinking about if to integrate them or how to integrate them in education. But again, different fields incorporate tools differently. Now the tools are already there. If we are providing education, we have to educate our students who are then going to be hired or employed in certain roles to be able to use them. Because of the nature of the field, certain tools are already available or applied in certain softwares and certain programs. So now we do teach them how to use those. But like we just mentioned, development of the knower or the student or the person is, again, the most important aspect of education here at MIU. So now I tell my students, And I love it. Like they're still curious, and I saw so many curious students here as well, potential students as well. Curiosity is good. Intimidation is just the fear can be removed so easily if you just start educating yourself, if you just get into the process of learning. Once you start seeing how things work, you'll see your role is it's far more requires far more from you as a human than just the output that you get from using these tools from, any AI enhanced tools. Even knowing the outputs to use or which, let's say, tool to select depends on your knowledge, on your foundational knowledge. And then if you use that tool, if you use that output, you're going to be the person responsible for, let's say, the analysis, for the interpretation, and the final decision that you make. So you're also learning how to take responsibility for that action, for that decision. So learning tools, learning the outputs they produce, how to interpret them, and how to take decisions. Sometimes decisions require, they're really fast-paced. You need to learn how to learn quick. You need to learn how to adapt. You need to learn basics to be able to evaluate the outputs you're getting. So it all comes back to your will, your desire, your own personal development at the end of the day.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And feel free to respond in the chat if you see other follow-up questions. But in our time remaining, let's go to Melody. And I wanted to ask how you're using or teaching how to use AI as a collaborative tool. I know you do a lot of project-based learning, and maybe you can speak to how you're already adapting in the classroom.
Yeah, sure. So we know that in business studies and in digital marketing, it's now all about AI. Everything can be done by AI. But then why my students come to my class? It's a big question. So we have a couple of things to think about. First of all, I so much appreciate the seed of thoughts for them in their beautiful brain that they have. So they come to class with all this seed of thoughts to blossom, to nurture, nourish, and blossom. So for this nurturing and nourishing, there are tools, okay? It was older tools. Now we are coming to the very high-tech tools, which is AI tools. And they are just booming every day. But then that level of set of thoughts is very much important for me in my classes. So there are some times in the class that it's totally is this literacy of learning AI, all these aspects in terms of, for example, the very important aspects of digital marketing is storytelling. But I want my students to be ethical, future-oriented storytellers and on the base of human needs. So that's why for them, class is sometimes all about coming to the class without any electronic devices, coming with the pen and paper and just discuss together about a topic which was given for them outside of class. They have time to go through all of these AIs, and then that collaboration of human AI, synchrony, and then come to the class, be themselves, because that is something is very much important for me, and I'm sure it's important for the market to just give them this opportunity to get a job. So that's what I'm now doing with all these courses that I'm teaching, and I believe MIU do that, giving the chance of growing the seeds of thoughts, even sometimes without using of any electronic devices, while you have the chance of giving the instruction of using all of these AI platforms.
So you're talking about very important two style approaches. One is with the AI and one is just human interaction. And there's still value in setting up separate conditions to develop them separately. Yeah.
Because I believe just one sentence.
Mhm.
When they will go to the interview to get the job, they interview them, not the AI tools. That's why I thought that the way they are just responding to the questions is something that's very important. And later with the team that they
Yeah.
are working together.
Mm. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up. I was just going to ask Dean, what would be your recommendation for the best placement of taking your AI minor? Let's say someone is not very conversant yet with using AI. When's a good strategy to fit it in with their major?
To fit it into a major, like first of all, that's the whole idea of a minor. I do recommend like focusing on something first, focusing on a specific domain. And the courses and the topics that we cover in the minor are actually just like a supplement or like an extension of tools and techniques that you can apply to your particular domain. So it's not about AI specifically. It's about using AI tools, whether you're using it in business or agriculture or in education, in writing. There are a lot of ways that we can use AI that could help enhance us. And there's another interesting thing that we have in the university is that you don't have to take the whole minor. Like if you are working in writing, you can just take the creative intelligence with prompt engineering, for example. Or if you are working with cinematics and arts, you could take a basic course that's going to help you how to work on these tools, talking about text to voice, voice generation, video generation, and I'm sure they will cover some stuff in their courses, but it does give you some foundational, let's say, skills and techniques. Talking about the business, for example, data analytics, it's extremely helpful. Giving you data insights, playing around with stuff with data mining. Yeah, so that's what and you could take one of these courses separately, or you could take the whole minor. But yeah, it's always going to be helpful for whatever domain you have. It's not specific for like computer science people or somebody in a STEM field or something.
It makes sense that you're flexible and adaptive. I mean, that would be the key. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Dean. Okay, so Amin, yes, you wanted to.
Yes, I just wanted to speak to something that maybe we haven't spoken about, but maybe spoken about in different ways. AI is technology, and it's technology for how to use computers specifically, more specifically, right? Computers, phone, machines. But before we get to a machine that's outside of us, there's a human physiology, there's a human machine, there's consciousness. And there are technologies to develop this consciousness, to develop this machine, to take it to its full potential. This is why at MIU we have a technique, transcendental meditation. We have consciousness-based education, which is aimed to give you actually technology of consciousness and helping you understand the technology of consciousness. It's not out there technology, it's technology of the inner world. And we help you develop that technology so that you can face any technology that comes out in the outer world. I thought it was important to mention this because there is an inner technology. And at MIU, that's the aim of this university, is to really help you understand the full extent of who you are as a human being and develop as a person while facing whatever is out there, whatever technology is out there. So that was my final thought on this.
Inner technology and the outer tech. Yes, Dean, did you want to add something?
I see there's a couple of questions people asking of how many courses are there. So we have 4 courses that are core for in the AI minor.
Okay.
And 2 of them are 2 credit courses, so you could consider them like kind of half a course. They don't have internal projects in those courses. We have 2 full courses. There's AI with agents and data analytics. And they have there's a lot of assignments in those, and there are projects. And we do have like another 2 credit courses, like a project, just only a project. It's going to be a 1-month work using the tools and the stuff you learned on. And there is some prerequisites for that. can I share you a slide to share, Karen? Is that okay?
I'm just going to ask the people here, can we keep you a little longer? Anyway, go for it. It's their choice. Okay.
Just so I can show them.
Yes. Are you able to share? Okay.
Yeah.
People are saying
Oh, I
yes.
can share my screen. Yeah, I have it open right here.
Okay.
Okay. Share the whole screen. Okay. There we go. Can someone confirm? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So here's the courses that we have. You could see that we have these two courses, Creative AI Prompt Design, Generative AI Beyond Text, focusing on audio, video, slides, and images. And these are 2 credit courses. So on our online program, these are going to be only 1 month, 4 modules. And then we have 2, you could say, a little bit more detailed courses. Again, this is not in a specific domain. You could apply this in any domain you want. And we do have something interesting. We are flexible in the course itself. Like if you are coming from another major, you could apply whatever you're learning on your major specifically. So we have no code customization for AI agents. This is for, like, as I talked about, like an agent to work on code. You can have an agent to read stuff from your chat, an agent to take some research papers and try to give like sum up give you a recap of what are they talking about. And there's a lot of things for managing, let's say, it's highly used in HR nowadays for management, is follow up with my emails, give me anything related to this particular project, tell me whatever meetings I have, and so on. So you can do a lot of interesting and fun stuff with agents. And data analytics and visualization. There are a lot of data analytics and visualization tools already, but using with AI, I mean, they're taking it to the next level. So these courses are 4 credits. They're 2 months long, 8 modules each. And then we have a discipline-oriented AI project. This course specifically is where you get to apply AI in your whatever domain you're working in. And of course, there will be some guidelines from the professor, but it will be like, if you're coming from business, you're coming from writing, you're coming from agriculture, you're going to use AI in your field and for this course specifically. And we have 2 1-credit courses that are consciousness related, and we talk about the aspects and details and relationships that we have, talking about artificial intelligence, creative intelligence, and pure intelligence, for example. Yeah, that's basically it. And in total, it's 16 credits for the AI
Okay, so
module.
this is only undergraduate, right? And as I understand it, a graduate program will be coming in about a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
the meantime,
So,
it's undergraduate. And again, I want to repeat this again. Students could take 1 or 2 courses if they like.
that's right.
Like if somebody is just interested in taking the creative AI and prompt design, they can go with that, for example.
Okay, that's very helpful. So thank you for those practical points. I know we didn't get to everything in the chat. We could answer them, but then we'd be here for 2 hours. I mean, we have a wide range of expertise here, and sorry if we couldn't get to all of them, but we're trying to keep these like these really short, sweet 45 minutes. I guess in the chat, I want to know from all of you. I have a question. What's one thing you wish school taught better, and what matters especially now? So what's something you wish school would teach better? Price? How to be a human being. Okay.
Say
How
that's
to-
what we do in our university.
Yeah. How to deal with life, how to think and not what to think. I'd like school to be more Socratic, how to be a friend, how to grow, personal empowerment. I wish school valued student well-being and emotional self. Emotional intelligence should be free for seniors. Social emotional intelligence, how to be a human on earth. Wow, emotional intelligence is coming a lot. As an elementary educator, EQ is a must. Yes. How to follow curiosity, how to be a parent, how to grow with soul and not liberation, remembering, how to navigate your own growth and health, both mentally and physically. Yes. What positions are available? Well, ask the HR office. I'm actually about to start the MS in regenerative agriculture. So there you go. I'm going to be doing both. So thank you for your time. We have another exciting webinar at the end of the month. It's Dr. John Hagelin. He's going to be explaining the relationship between quantum physics and education, our consciousness-based approach to education. And we want him to really put the science behind the whole educational philosophy here. So you're already on our list. We're going to invite you back. So we hope to see you again later. And I'm going to just do some wrap-up points, but feel free if faculty want to leave, I understand. But if you want to like continue to chat, there were so many questions, I couldn't even get to all of them. So feel free to chat with them. Otherwise, I have some practical points for any of you who are considering enrolling or applying. Okay. So our next entry, I know some of you are going to join us, but it's April 2026. That's all online undergraduate programs. And then August 2026, all programs are available. And thanks, Sean. Yes. Good to have you here. So tm.org is the website for learning transcendental meditation, your first primary technology of consciousness. And there are additional advanced techniques. So if you've already learned this one and you want to keep fertilizing those seeds that Dr. Melody was talking about, you know, there's more along the inner domain of life. So there's transcendental meditation. It's a very powerful technique. A lot of scientific research has been done on how it enhances creativity, enlivens full brain functioning, all the good stuff that leads to great cognitive functioning and creativity. So, and once you become accepted as a student, you can learn for free at no additional cost. So that's another practical bit. That's all I have to say about that. And if you want to join us in our community, be part of our intentional creativity and community building, please come here. You can still be an online student, but then you can join us in the meditation halls and all that. And yeah, the dome, the golden domes. Again, if you joined us late, I wanted to mention that more than 90% of our students get extensive financial aid. And there's a handy calculator, only takes 10 seconds, and then it can give you an estimate. We wanted to mention other ways to learn more about us. So we have Visitors Day, so you could come on a Saturday, spend a day here. There's a $10 registration fee. You can also request a meeting with a professor, and that's on one of the web pages as well. So if you want to look at past webinars, please scan the QR code. All right, so that's it from our side. If there's any additional questions, I mean, we could take a couple, but I think our faculty are probably wanting to enjoy their weekend. Yeah, and if you're an online student, it's also encouraged even to just come here for a semester. There's a couple other benefits, which is like taking the advanced training courses in meditation, joining a retreat. But you can also be an online student and enjoy our online retreats. So take full advantage of that as well. Okay, so are we good? Should we close out? Yes, okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry for the questions we were not able to get to, but
Thanks so much.
hopefully we had a fun discussion. So
Yes, that was fun. Yes,
All right,
we'll
everyone.
send you emails about more events.